Hello everyone, and welcome to my bold and the beautiful spoilers. I hope everyone is having a wonderful day. Before we begin, please hit the subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up. The strong and the lovely spoilers, Finn knows Carter and trusts private business. That's what the strong and the wonderful spoilers say, assuming there's anything that we've found out about existence in this imaginary town of Los Angeles. It's that mysteries don't have extremely lengthy time spans of usability by any means. Finn knows Carter and trusts private business. Also, fans will witness that by and by, as Finn is familiar with Carter and trusts private business. As numerous B&B fans know about, Carter and Trust have a sentiment happening inconspicuous. In any case, the second that Steffy learns about it, there's no question that the you understand what will raise a ruckus around town. All things considered, Trust just got terminated from Forrester Manifestations when she was discovered taking a stab at undergarments by. Little did Steffy know at the time that Trust was really giving it a shot for Carter. In any case, since it has become so obvious about what's been happening among Carter and Trust, is it truly essential for him to go to Steffy with this data? That is the thing B&B fans need to be aware. Numerous pundits even took to web-based entertainment to say something regarding this storyline. Some even said, how could Finn go Carter's? There were different motivations to fire Trust, other than whatever as of late occurred. The fact of the matter is that Trust was arranging a temptation for Carter on organization time, which alone would be reason for end. The intense and the wonderful spoilers, is Finn terrified of Steffy? Another pundit expressed, Finn ought to be aware by the mishap and Trust's outing and fall misses the point entirely, yet is scared to make some noise and conflict with Steffy. Anyway, it could save her and FC from a claim. In the event that he will tell her, he is terrified to death to tell her she is absolutely off base. In the event that he says nothing, he is a greater weakling than I naturally suspect he is. Pathetic reason for a marriage in the event that the spouse is unfortunate of his better half, and pursues the vast majority of her choices in light of disdain. Meanwhile, let us in on your thought process by leaving us a line with your viewpoints in our remarks segment beneath. The Strong and the Lovely airs non-weekend days on the CBS organization. Really take a look at your nearby postings for times. Make certain to find everything on B&B at this moment. Return here frequently for the strong and the wonderful spoilers, news, and updates. B&B's Katrina Bowden is hitched to Adam Taylor. Kindly go along with us in saying Hoa make I Anna to previous the striking and the wonderful star Katrina Bowden, who sealed the deal with her performer playmate Adam Taylor throughout the end of the week in Hawaii. The Kalama Oceanside Club in Taylor's old neighborhood, Kailua, was the shocking setting for the couple's personal and easygoing function, trailed by an exuberant gathering in the dance hall of the close by Kaimana Oceanside Lodging in Waikiki, the lady told individuals. We chose to have the wedding in two areas since we likewise truly needed to set up a major tomfoolery party for our loved ones, she shared. Before 125 visitors, the lady and husband-to-be wore customary Hawaiian leis and traded manually written promises. Neighborhood vegetation and foliage were integrated into the beachy pre-marriage ceremony, as well as pops of dazzling pink and orange in the decorative layouts. Bowden and Taylor, bassist for the band Iration, were presented by his bandmate, Drake Peterson, quite a long while prior, so it was just fitting that he directed the service. A hula artist and a three-piece acoustic Hawaiian band engaged visitors during the mixed drink hour. Taylor's bandmates, guitarists Micah and Micah Brown, joined Puamana to play the Lovebirds' most memorable dance, Consistently, Each Day by Maoli. Adam is my number one individual, and I can hardly hold on to be left with him perpetually, said Bowden. He adds such a lot of adoration, humor, and satisfaction to my life. He's an old buddy, and such a mindful man who regards and loves me how I've for practically forever needed to be cherished. Bowden made her B&B debut as Flo in January 2019. She was associated with various front-burner storylines until she last showed up in July 2021, not long after Flo got drawn into her secondary school beau, Wyatt. We wish Mr. and Mrs. Taylor all the joy on the planet as they leave on their new experience together as a couple. Inconvenience is approaching in the current weeks the striking and the delightful spoilers. Edge and Steffy think they've saved Forrester, however Carter has different plans. What's more, as Elektra investigates another sentiment with Will, her past is returning to cause major problems for her. Was thankful that her dad supported up her choice to at last reassess the expectation for the future line and fire Trust. Regardless of whether Steffy totally blew up to how she thought Trust was doing Finn. Trust and her line are history, Steffy proclaims as Edge adds, the conclusion of an important time period. Who is Elektra's stalker? Rubel is approaching in the current weeks the striking and the wonderful spoilers. Edge and Steffy think they've saved Forrester, yet Carter has different plans. What's more, as Elektra investigates another sentiment with Will, her past is returning to cause major problems for her. Steffy was thankful that her dad supported up her choice to at long last reassess the expectation for the future line and fire Trust. Regardless of whether Steffy totally overcompensated to how she thought Trust was doing Finn. Trust and her line are history, Steffy proclaims as Edge adds, the conclusion of an important time period. Nonetheless, Carter had huge designs to take Forrester to a higher level. And keeping in mind that the family kiboshed those thoughts, he's not surrendering. This is the response we're searching for, he demands to Trust as he shows her a few authoritative reports. Edge and Steffy put it solidly in our grasp. What, precisely, is Carter thinking? As they sink into their new position planning adornments for Forrester manifestations, Elektra opens up to Ivy about her affections for the charming new understudy, Will. I can't quit contemplating him, she admits. Normally, Ivy needs to ensure her niece is going in with her eyes completely open. He feels the same way, she inquires. Is by all accounts going great up to this point, Elektra concedes as we see Will moving in for a kiss. Course, anything would be preferable over what I abandoned. And what she left behind seems, by all accounts, to be a remarkable stalker. Sitting at a PC, an agonizing young fellow gazes at photographs of Elektra on the screen, and there are a lot more in a collection on the wall above him. Who is this secret man, and how hazardous might he at some point be? Elektra stresses over impending public statements as somebody stalks her, while Brooke inquires as to whether Taylor's enamored with Edge. Intense and the lovely, Edge, Steffy, and Katie examine the aftermath of Trust's terminating and pressures ascend among Brooke and Taylor when Brooke poses an inquiry. The response could change things for eternity. Friday's initial BNB recap, Luna connects with Bill and deceives Poppy, Carter vapor as Edge won't examine his arrangements, and Zend is disappointed. At the Forrester Manifestations chief office, Katie lets Edge know that the press will before long learn about Trust's non-attendance, and that they need to put out a public statement. Steffy disregards it. Trust's gone, and her line is dropped. Katie says it doesn't move brand certainty, with tales spreading about struggle. Ivy shows up with Elektra. Will's mother, Elektra says. Edge lets the ladies know that Katie's engaged with aiding relaunch the Adornments line. Edge says they're undeniably energized. Katie needs to send off the line with a sprinkle, however, not so insane as Brooke's room line. Will hinders with legitimate notes for Steffy. She takes the records and Will stays close by to pay attention to the gathering. Elektra doesn't need her name brought into the delivery, making everybody be interested. She's simply the collaborator, however Ivy says she's a tremendous piece of this. Edge, Steffy, and Katie concur, they believe her name out there should create fervor in the press. Once more, Elektra doesn't think it'll add to it. Steffy says it's sweet, however the mission is settled. Elektra presses the issue. Putting her name and photograph makes it believe she's accomplishing more than she is. Elektra looks stressed and Edge says, "What's happening with you?" Ivy will get her due, but on the other hand, they're excited she's here as well. Elektra's blissful yet had close to zero familiarity with the press. Ivy offers to deal with questions that surface, and Will says the PR framework is perfect. CBS. Edge advises Elektra to partake in the occasion, yet she looks concerned. Afterward, everybody documents out and Steffy and Edge discuss how wonderful and sure Elektra is. Two Forresters coming into the organization assuages, would like to think not being there. Steffy inquires as to whether her father will keep on supporting her. Edge calls it trying, since Trust's Brooke's little girl. Steffy beseeches him not to pay attention to Brooke. It was anything but an unjustifiable terminating. He moans. This storyline from The Strong and the Lovely is loaded with delicious mysteries, developing connections, and work environment show. At the core, all things considered, Finn has uncovered some captivating personal business among Carter and Trust, which leaves him stuck. Would it be advisable for him to uncover this data to Steffy, gambling with her anger and possible aftermath at Forrester manifestations, or would it be a good idea for him to stay quiet about it? The choice is difficult, particularly with Steffy being known for her conclusive and in some cases red-hot responses. At the point when she finds out, it's normal that a showdown will be unavoidable, thinking of her as severe perspectives on private limits, especially in the work environment. Trust's new terminating from Forrester manifestations because of her relationship with Carter, and especially her striking token of taking a stab at undergarments during work hours, has proactively caused a commotion. The intensity of her activities appeared to hit home for Steffy, who might feel that individual connections are best stayed with outside the walls. In spite of the fact that Trust's expectations were probably more private, Steffy's response underscores the tight limit she draws among business and delight, particularly in an organization setting. Finn's information on this in the background sentiment further entangles things. Fans conjecture he might be keeping down on imparting everything to Steffy due to an implicit apprehension about her response or conceivably even clash aversion. There's a continuous conversation among fans about Finn's possible feeling of dread towards Steffy. A few watchers contend that Finn ought to champion himself and shout out about what he knows, while others think his wavering uncovers breaks in his marriage. The analysis paints Finn as a person whose ethical standing is being tried, as he offsets individual reliability with proficient respectability. This struggle under the surface adds one more layer to the storyline, clarifying that his decision could have repercussions for his relationship with Steffy as well as for his remaining inside Forrester manifestations. On the opposite side of the show range, Carter, who was at first determined to progress Forrester manifestations, seems undaunted by Steffy's choice to end Trust's line. He is seen pushing forward with an arrangement he accepts can raise the organization higher than ever, notwithstanding family protests. This striking move indicates that Carter has a dash of desire that will not effectively be reduced, even by Steffy and Edge's position. In the meantime, an equal plotline is unfurling with Elektra, who ends up in another sentiment with Will while wrestling with the eerie presence of a puzzling stalker. The show sets up tension as this obscure figure prowls behind the scenes, fanatically following everything Elektra might do. As she explores her maturing relationship with Will, she likewise overcomes the feeling of dread toward being watched, making a serious propensity in her storyline. This adds a spine-chiller component to the show, standing out from the heartfelt and corporate dramatization that encompasses characters like Carter and Finn. Moreover, Brooke and Taylor end up in one more petulant conversation. At the point when Brooke offers a stacked conversation starter about Taylor's affections for Edge, it recommends that Brooke suspects there might be waiting sentiments, which could revive old pressures. This dynamic among Brooke and Taylor frequently drives a ton of interest and has well-established fans puzzling over whether the show could return to old circles of drama and contentions. Adding to the activity, Katie is trapped in the Forrester manifestations show, dealing with a public statement about Trust's leave, which could work up much more discussion in the media. Katie's point is to turn what is happening to safeguard Forrester manifestations' image picture. However, offsetting reality with public discernment is no simple accomplishment, particularly with the show's set of experiences of embarrassments. The whole storyline embodies the rich and tangled existences of the characters inside the strong and the delightful. Between Finn's contention, Carter's desire, Elektra's heartfelt battles, and the overall show at Forrester manifestations, fans are in for an extraordinary ride as the situation starts to get interesting. With characters compelled to pick either private unwaveringness and expert obligation, the unfurling show will probably reverberate profoundly with watchers and may try and present startling turns in the weeks to come. The storyline of The Strong and the Wonderful, B&B, keeps on conveying high-stakes show including privileged insights, love, and unwaveringness, especially with characters like Finn, Carter, and Steffy. In this imaginary Los Angeles, the situation starts to get interesting with Finn's revelation of Carter and Trust's special arrangement. Finn, situated between reality and his unwaveringness to his significant other Steffy, faces the issue of whether to uncover this mystery or remain quiet to keep away from Steffy's fury. The pressure around the connection among Carter and Trust comes from a well-established undertaking that they have been cautiously stowing away. Fans are enthusiastically looking as Finn's contribution takes steps to uncover them, with the possibility to bring disturbance not exclusively to their sentiment however to the whole Forrester privately owned company. B&B has consistently blossomed with the mixing of individual and expert lives, where love and disloyalty frequently cross with business desires. Finn's hesitance to go up against Steffy about Carter and Trust's relationship could be established in his apprehension about her response. Numerous watchers guess that Finn's mindfulness should have been visible as shortcoming, however others contend that he's acting wisely. His dithering adds to the plot's pressure, featuring the way that troublesome it tends to be to offset love with genuineness, particularly seeing someone by power elements. In the meantime, Trust's end from Forrester manifestations following the Unmentionables episode brings up issues about both impressive skill and individual limits. While Steffy initially confounded Trust's goals with Finn, her choice to end Trust has prompted unsettled sharpness and waiting disdain. In B&B's reality, where business and sentiment continually cross over, activities propelled by private doubt frequently bring about touchy results. Somewhere else, in a lighter storyline, entertainer Katrina Bowden, previously Flo, as of late, praised her union with performer Adam Taylor. The wedding, held in Hawaii, was a mix of custom and party, offering fans a superb look into the entertainer's genuine satisfaction. This euphoric event is a reviving difference to the show on screen and reverberates with watchers who wish her satisfaction and achievement. Back in the made-up B&B universe, Carter is subtly plotting to hoist Forrester manifestations higher than ever, notwithstanding the familial opposition he faces. His aspiration could upset the whole business structure, testing Edge and Steffy's position. Simultaneously, Elektra's maturing sentiment with Will presents one more layer of interest as she attempts to continue on from a dim past set apart by a secretive stalker. The stalker subplot brings anticipation into Elektra's storyline, uncovering weaknesses that add profundity to her personality. As Elektra sets out on this new heartfelt excursion with Will, her endeavor to leave her upset past behind is undermined by a sneaking risk. The stalker, focused on Elektra, keeps a close eye on her, enhancing the feeling of disquiet and tension in her life. This subplot brings up issues about trust and security in connections, a common subject in B&B. Steffy's choice to end Trust's line starts a warm discussion about family steadfastness versus corporate interest, and the family's emphasis on maintaining their heritage. As Edge and Steffy reaffirm their obligation to safeguard Forrester manifestations, Carter's tranquil rebellion uncovers his assurance to state his own vision for the brand. His desire could conflict with Steffy and Edge's customary methodology, testing family bonds and stretching the boundaries of unwaveringness and aspiration inside Forrester manifestations. Brooke and Taylor's pressure heightens as they question each other's thought processes and effect on Edge. This pressure strains their relationship with Edge as well as features the firmly established competition and weaknesses that have portrayed their cooperations for a really long time. With Brooke scrutinizing Taylor's affections for Edge, the mind-boggling dynamic among adoration and envy surfaces, bringing fans into a long-standing circle of drama that keeps on developing. In another subplot, Ivy is trapped in Elektra and Will's sentiment, offering wise counsel while reminding Elektra to remain wary. Ivy's anxiety for Elektra's security and close-to-home prosperity mirrors the upsides of family backing and dependability integral to the Forrester relational intricacy. Her careful focus and defensive senses act as an offset to the hasty and frequently crazy way of behaving of different characters. As the pressure constructs, the stakes in every storyline ascend, with mysteries ready to unwind and connections on the line. Each character's decisions reflect bigger subjects of adoration, power, and dependability, with each choice affecting the complicated snare of connections at Forrester manifestations. The striking and the delightful keeps up with its allure by mixing sentiment with corporate interest, offering watchers a reality where feelings run high, and mysteries are seldom saved for a really long time.